Hi, good evening. I'm just going to wait a moment to make sure that everybody is comfortable and in the right place. So we'll begin really soon. And I want to thank David and Sherry of Building Strength Seminars for doing these webinars. I'm so happy that we can all connect like this. And I know it's really nice that we can connect without really having to travel. And a lot of times I would do workshops, and back in the 90s, when we didn't have this kind of technology, and of course people that were in other countries couldn't participate. So this is super cool. And I understand from David and Sherry that they're going to do a very special thing, and they're going to allow a replay for the next 24 hours, and they actually never do replays. So we're pretty lucky, because after that it's a paid link. And then I think they're going to do the next 24 hours at half price, and then after that it will be full price. So take your time, listen, and you don't have to feel rushed, because you can probably listen to the replay to capture the essence of what I'm saying. And yeah, just let's relax and have fun. Now we've got sight and sound. The one thing we're missing is smell. That would be really cool, but I'm sure it's not far away. Because when I was a little girl, we were like, wouldn't it be so fun if you could see people when you called them? And now we have that technology. So here we are. Okay, hopefully that gives everybody a chance to gather, and we're going to get started. And also know that you can also email questions, and then I'll have time near the end where I'm going to answer, I hope, every single question that we get. So know that you can do that, and you can just type it in and I'll get them. And today we're going to talk about super immunity with essential oils, or it's also known as aroma medicine, unraveling the mysteries of aromatherapy and essential oils. And this is one aspect of aromatherapy. Well, actually it's really the whole aspect of aromatherapy, but I really love talking about this part because essential oils, and the modern word is aromatherapy, are so potently powerful that what I like to say is, I used to do interviews, and I would take that old Hippocrates expression of let your food be your medicine and change that around to let your perfume be your medicine. And I found out, I was just reading a friend of mine's book last week on looking up thyme essential oil, and my friend's book is Mindy Green, and it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's called Mindy Green. It's something like the complete aromatherapy book, and it's a really lovely book, quite up to date. But anyways, looking up thyme, and I found out that there was a word in ancient Greece, and in ancient Greece, if you were passing somebody and you thought they smelled really good, you would say, you smell like timbre, which meant that you smelled like the sweet fragrance of thyme. And from the word thyme, we also have the word, let me see if I can pronounce it right. It's thymia-techne, which is a literal word, you can Google it, that means the art of using plants, the art of using perfumes as your medicine. So I just thought that was so cool that it was like a totally ancient concept. I mean, I did know that there was this ancient concept, but didn't know there was an exact word. Where I knew the practice of letting your perfume be your medicine was from ancient Egypt, where the preparation of the medicines and the cosmetics, and really on a sort of more spiritual aspect, the priest, so to speak, would be the preparer of the medicines and the cosmetics. So way back then, thousands of years ago, and throughout time, really up until the 19th century, there was no division between plants, perfumes, and the concept of medicine. I mean, really the only concept for medicine was the use of plants. And it was with the 19th century, with it really was like the last of the 1800s, where they were creating chemicals and synthesizing and isolating that a chemical came to be, and then they would isolate active components of plants and synthesize them, and then go off in a whole different tangent. And that's when the separation occurred, and that's when plants lost their power, so to speak, And perfume, they started creating perfume with synthetic ingredients as well. So you get these perfume houses in France at the turn of the century with juicy, juicy medicines, and hold on, I have to click a button here. With these juicy, juicy plants, and then you get like these classic perfumes, and they start adding synthetics. And it's really interesting because if there's men listening, of course they're not, to be like perfume, my medicine, that doesn't make sense because maybe you don't want to be wearing perfume. It sounds so feminine and frivolous. And then of course what we have now in this time is a total oxymoron that perfume would be medicine, because it's actually the commercial perfumes are filled with synthetics and really could cause allergies and really seem to have no healing effects whatsoever. So we're allowing the perfumes to be our medicines because we're using real pure essential oils. And I love it too, because to me it brings a kind of simplicity to things, where really the one thing that you're doing for your body can cover a lot of areas. So it's like not all this separation of the activity of what you're doing. So really like having a bath, having an aromatic bath, and then putting a body oil on afterwards, or anointing your face, or putting perfume on, or mopping your floor with lemongrass. All of these actions are really the same thing. It's like just using the plants in your daily life and allowing them to do what they do, which is a lot of things. And that's what we're going to go really deeply into tonight. And yeah, we're going to go into the applications and the inhalations and what do you do with these things anyway. So here we are. We're going to learn how to create super immunity for ourselves and our bodies. This slide is I love the rainbow in there. That is a beautiful day that's where we live. And where we live, I feel like we have a lot of those trees there along the shore that we distill for essential oils. And some of those tree oils are some of the most medicinal. You may see along the shore there, we've got birch, we've got eastern cedar, and the grand white pine, and black spruce, and balsam fir, and those all create awesome essential oils. So our next slide here, there it is. This is, I'd love to hear you all. Maybe we'll get that working next. But this is an image of something that we've been fearing for decades. This is the fear of the unknown. This is the virus right here. This is the thing that we don't want to run into. And I just thought I'd show it here and show this image, this molecule. And I know that like sometimes I don't leave the sanctity of my home because I'm like, oh, if I go out in public, like there, that's like, I don't, that's where the germs begin, so to speak. So that's where essential oils come in really handy. They're all antiviral, antifungal, and antibacterial. And that's really surprising to some, but I really like to always talk about that point, because even if it's rose or lavender, which seems so floral and feminine and aromatic, but they're very potent antiviral and antifungal essential oils. One thing I like to do, I carry around a bottle of tea tree with me, and one thing that you can do, because there's a lot of hand sanitizers in it there and stuff that are really just synthetic and chemical and just too many things that kill all the good things. So one thing you can do with tea tree is you just put one drop in your hand, and tea tree can be used undiluted on the skin, and so can lavender. And you just put one drop in your hand and you go like this, and your hands are clean. You don't have to rub them that much, but I like to. So that is one way you can have a small bottle in your purse and keep your hands clean. I like to do it with our little guy. Oh, when you have little children, they love touching everything. So that's just one easy way now that we're looking at public bathrooms. And another thing you can do too is just get a spray bottle and fill that up with some vodka, and you can add essential oils like lavender, tea tree, oregano, shake it up, and then you can carry that around too. And you can make your own antibacterial spray without any chemicals at all. And with the alcohol, it leaves it quite dry. So that's really good. And maybe this is a good point to talk about too. I'm sure many of you know this, but essential oils, the word essential oil. It's a bit misleading because the actually essential oils aren't oily. They don't feel like olive oil. They're actually a volatile oil that's made through steam distillation, and they have an evaporative quality. Another time when I just feel like, you know, the viruses are all around is for air travel, and of course I totally get, you know, myself ready like a tree. So we have like little things that we pack when we're doing air travel. So one will be the hand sanitizer, of course, in only a 2-ounce bottle because you don't want to go over the plane limit. So we have that. We have a bottle of tea tree oil, and then another thing that I love to travel with is something like a breathing balm or essential oils, and then you can just protect the inner coating of your nostril and nose with the essential oils. This means that when you're breathing in the air, that you are every breath is being purified, all the molecules going in, and then also you can also just protect the ear as well and put that there. So I have that, have those two things, and then I like to just, you know, amplify my immune system with something like Immunilume. I'll just carry that on, and this is actually ready to go. And yes, I'm going to have a drop because there's a lot of debate out there over eating essential oils, and we can go through that, but I'll just take a couple drops here. And that I know will really help my immune system. That's the Immunilume hot berry, but you could also do the tea tree. If you're going to do something like oregano, it definitely needs to be diluted. And our friend Ilana loves putting that on chocolate, so she'll put 1 drop on a piece of chocolate and bite that. So that's like my little airplane travel kit. And I do really wish that we could all travel around like that, but we'll work on that now that we have video conferencing. So also, what I really love to take care of myself is always using the elements. So that would be the elements of, you know, sun, using the sun, getting enough vitamin D. It's really good to look at rising and setting suns. It actually is really good for the pineal gland. That's another subject. And then just using the natural elements of bathing. We bathe in natural water, and even in the colder climates like now, we'll do a sauna, hop in the cold water, in and out. So always using nature to revivify the body, and that's where the essential oils come from. And I like this picture. It's goldenrod with a honeybee, and it just shows the relationship of the essential oils to the insect kingdom. And interestingly enough, because humans have been eating plants for thousands of years, plants and humans actually, how we say, have a relationship, and they've been evolving together. And where the essential oil offers one thing, the human body often has a receptor site to receive the molecules of that plant. And the essential oils inside the plants are called secondary metabolites. That's part of their function. So it's something that the plant needs not as a primary thing to survive, but as a secondary metabolite function. And that means it can be the plant's pheromone system. It would be to attract insects, honeybees, to pollinate. It can be used to repel. So it can be used to repel, you know, things that would harm it. A lot of the essential oils would come in the bark, and then they would stop different beetles from eating that bark, that kind of a thing. So the essential oils are like a sap that run through the blood. They're like the blood of the plant. And it depends on the plant, but it can be found in the flower petals. For example, in jasmine, it's right in the petals, and then the most concentrated time that the jasmine is in the flower petals is at dawn. So before they distill the jasmine, it's collected at dawn, and then those flowers are distilled. In trees, it could be in the bark, in the sap, in the leaves would have different properties. Some plants it's the roots, some plants it's the berry, like juniper berry, which can be the needles in the berries, but the very best oil is just the distillation of the berries. And in herbaceous plants, it's the leaves, like sage oil. And we also have in the beans, like vanilla bean. So you can see it's like a lot of different parts of the plants that contribute to this. And it's also not all plants have the aromatic molecules that can be distilled out of the plant. And the ancient Egypts actually thought that to distill the plant was because you would remove the water from the plant and you're just capturing the quintessence or the essence of the plant, and that was thought to also be the purest spirit of the plant. And this allows also, it's really interesting because I'm sure a lot of you know about herbs, but the essential oil is really a different matter and a different consistency, and it can work on other parts of the body, like the nerves. Of course herbs can too, but it can work and move through the body in a really interesting way. It's very, very physiological, very scientific, and then there's also this ethereal aspect that it seems to also work with the ethers in the body, so to speak. And now we're going to go to the next slide, which I just have to move my computer along here. Oh, I am missing. Oh, maybe it's not loaded. Hold on. Okay. I'm hoping there's more slides to my presentation because I have more. Yes, there is more. Phew. Okay. I'll just put on the honeybees for a second while we let this load. Okay. That's good. Okay. So here, there, ancient Egypt. There was many cultures in history that used the essential oils, but I find Egypt was one of the most vast and colorful. A really neat thing is embalming. When they embalmed people to prepare them to mummification, they weren't using formaldehyde, of course, but they would actually use a combination of essential oils, which included cedar, cinnamon, myrrh, a couple of others, but I just find that so amazing. So the mummification was through the use of essential oils, and that's what was preserving these bodies and preparing them to go to the afterlife. And a really interesting thing is what we call, so my friends and I call this thing, when you get sick or you got a cold, we have this expression, we call it live embalming, which is basically when you take more essential oils than you would normally use and just like embalm, inhale. So I would do something like this. I have our lymph tonic here, and I would just put a lot, that's like about 10 drops, and then I would just pour that on my chest, rub that in. And I would do that quite often throughout the day and bathe and inhale it, because when we get those molecules in, it's really neat. They can, I'll go to this slide here. This is a fun slide, I just kind of made it up. There's the rose molecules there with the white blood cells and the red blood cells. But this is just to illustrate that the essential oils, it's so neat, they go into the body and to the cells, and there's like an intelligence there, and what they do is they block the cell receptor sites. So what they do, viruses really like to imitate each other, and so they can keep growing in the body, but the essential oils help to block the cell receptor sites so that the viruses don't repeat, and that is pretty cool. So here we are back to this slide, and when we travel through time and up into the 17th century with the bubonic plague, what we have also learned through history is that perfumers, perfume houses, people that were working with the aromatics and the distilled oils actually had a great survival rate, and they were found to be able to survive that because they were just surrounded by the molecules. And we like that, and so we love working with the essential oils. Here we have a diagram, and it just explains about inhaling essential oils, because what I find is, you know, with the term aromatherapy, it's like become, you know, very like sort of Hallmark card. I find like very like, you know, aromatherapy, a lavender bath, and you know, there's been a lot of use of not real essential oils for the effect of the aromatherapy in advertising or to sell a product. And what we're talking about here, of course, is the pure, genuine, authentic distillations of essential oils. And when you are working with these molecules, you will have, of course, usually, you know, a pleasant effect on the emotions. But what is also happening is that you are inhaling these molecules. I'm going to get my little arrow going here. So you're inhaling the molecules, and they're going up into the brain, up into the hypothalamus here. When they reach the hypothalamus releases the molecules to the limbic system and then throughout the rest of the body. There they go down through the to the lungs. They pass the little capillaries in the lungs, and then they get sent out into the different systems, like the circulation system, and they're going all throughout the body. And you could also put them on the soles of your feet, and they're going throughout the body. But this method of inhalation is so effective at getting the molecules released through the body, and from there, the different neurochemicals are released, like encephalin or noradrenaline, or different ones that can help work on the central nervous system. So it's, not just a pretty thing to inhale, but what we have here is a real physiological experience happening that is benefiting the body. And through getting those essential oils out, you're not just benefiting the nose and the nasal cavity and the sinuses, but it's working on the whole being. So this is a really great method to use the essential oils, is merely just inhaling. And here is a better look at the hypothalamus and just the nasal system and where it's going up, reaching the pituitary gland and going through. And this is a really neat slide on the hypothalamus. You can see it's like the seat of the brain, and what they call the hypothalamus also the sort of the master switch of the whole endocrine system. And that endocrine system, of course, is the we've got the thyroid, the thymus, the can't remember, not the pancreas, the spleen. We've got the adrenals and the sex organs. So that's the whole system of the endocrine system, and that's really, I think, obviously a practical part of the body, but a bit of a magical part of the body, because there's glandular secretions that revivify our being, and we know a lot of the hormones, but I also feel like we don't even know all of the secretions that are making our body work. But we do know that the essential oils are working very harmoniously with this system. So that is the hypothalamus, which the essential oils have a great relationship with. And then, of course, here we're going through the endocrine system, which is also related to each of the chakras. And the other system, once you've inhaled the molecules, the essential oils are also traveling down, and they're working with the lymph gland. Here in this diagram, we're having, how do I get my little arrow? Just here, here, these little areas right there, these are the lymph glands, and that's also another really great area to use the essential oils topically. And so right now we're just covering the whole flow of where the essential oils are traveling through inhalation, and also when you're applying them to the body. So what you have is the inhalation of the essential oils and the application of the essential oils traveling to different parts of the body. One reason why the essential oils are so effective is, again, they're not oily, but they're volatile, which means they can evaporate and flow through. So when you're inhaling something, it's passing through the blood-brain barrier more effectively than really any substance on the planet. I'm sure there's a couple, but it's right up there as like one of the most effective things to go through. The other thing where the essential oils are very effective is when you're applying them to the skin, they're lipophilic in nature, so they're also passing through the dermis very well, and they're traveling into the body. And one thing I like to suggest also for applying, so here we have the lymph nodes again, and this is another great tip, especially in the winter climates, is to do excuse me, dry brushing. So you take your dry brush, and you could use essential oils like eucalyptus, rosemary, cypress, laurel. Those are all really great for the lymph system, and those can all be used undiluted on the skin. Another area where it comes up to dilute or to not dilute, it's sort of like this, 40-year-old debate in aromatherapy. And when you're using genuine and authentic essential oils, generally you can use a lot of them undiluted. Now, you don't always want to use them undiluted, but there's some occasions where that is called for. And what you can do too is you just test right here, where is my elbow? There, right in the inner patch of your elbow. You can put a drop there and to see if it would irritate you. Some essential oils that usually would be irritating would be something like oregano, thyme, cinnamon. Those are all very hot, and they can kind of burn the skin. Also citruses you would want to dilute to use. And you would also, citruses are photosensitive, so that means if you were to put them on undiluted and go out in the sun, you would actually create a burn on your skin. So those would be the general areas where you would always want to use something diluted, but a lot more than lavender and tea tree can be used undiluted. So here I'm using our lymph tonic, which has all the ones blended in it, like laurel, cypress, rosemary, and eucalyptus. And you see I just put a drop on the palm of my hand, and now, let's bring my hand in, I take the dry brush, and I'm just going to rub those couple of drops right on the dry brush. So this is just coated on the tips, and now for dry brushing, what you want to do, gotta get my arm in here, okay, is you just start at the tips of the body, and you just move up, and you're doing it just lightly, all the way. The thing to remember is towards the heart. So you're always going this way, this way, this way, always towards the heart. And then you would do down here, getting the lymph nodes, down here, and then also just right here, getting those lymph nodes. And then for the feet, you just start again, feet towards the heart. And that is so good for your skin, for your lymph node, for circulation. If you're not that big into exercise, this is an excellent way to get the benefits of exercise. It also helps to break up cellulite, and it just gets the body flowing. Because when the lymph system is stagnant, our immune system becomes stagnant. The lymph system is so vital to our being. It's like the blood brings the nutrients in, and the lymph system, it carries the waste products away, but it also actually brings a lot of immune health, and it also actually carries some nutrients to different parts of the body. So you definitely want to keep the lymph flow going. And if you can do that and have a sauna, great. Infrared saunas are pretty cool, and they've come down a lot in price, and if you can squeeze one in where you're living, that would be very beneficial, especially if you're in a winter climate where you kind of need to keep the chi going throughout the winter. So that is on dry brushing. So I'd like to just add little tips and stuff so you can find out about using the essential oils. So now I'm going to just go back. I'm going to talk for a little bit, put something nice on to look at. And what I want to go through is, this is the part where you might want to get a pen and paper, and we're just going to go through more like applications. So the ways to use essential oils, there's sort of 3 general ways. You can apply it, you can ingest it, and you can inhale it. So those are the 3 general ways, and we've done a bit on inhaling, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more now. So through inhalation, we've explained all the way, like how it's going into the body, so you can see how it's very beneficial to be inhaling these vapors. And one thing I love, and you know what, actually I haven't found a good diffuser in like 10 years, and I just found this and I was so excited. And they're not that expensive, and what you do is you just fill this up with water. This one I like because it actually it nebulizes, which is a fine mist, and it doesn't use heat, and it gets this fine mist going up into the room. And hold on a second, I'm seeing a question. Okay, I'm seeing something from Dr. David who would like to have introduced, but he did forget his webcam today. So I'm gonna just do a Dr. David moment. And he wanted me to remind everybody about the DVD. I did a dental webinar last month, and that was I think the most thorough dental presentation that I've done, because we also had the audio and the video, so I totally went in and did flossing and really went in depth. And so Dr. David wanted to let you all know that it is available, and so the DVD is available, and you can go to the home page of Building Strength Seminars and click on that. So there you go, that's like the commercial break. Okay, so here we have the diffuser. You fill it up with water, you add a couple of drops, you can add 5 to 10 drops of oils. And this was so good because we had a cold in our house last month, and we found that we just shut the door at night. This added moisture to the air as it was getting drier out. And also because if your nose gets dry, what happens is you actually, the nose, moisture in the nose is a regulating system for viruses, and it's your first line of defense. So once the nose gets dry, you're more susceptible to viruses. So that's why we also put that nose balm on when we're traveling. So you just, I don't have this plugged in, but a fine stream would come up, it lasts for about 3 hours and then it shuts off. So it's really great. And we have those available now, but they're, you might be able to find them other places too, but I'm just so glad that technology is available, because sometimes you just want to have your home smell good and stuff. And I forgot, another thing you can do is do a higher dose, do eucalyptus, and then put a towel over your head and do that. And I'm sure you could also do a steam facial this way as well. I'm going to try that and update you on that. So this is just so handy, and we've actually been taking it traveling with us as well. We even we had this special plug for our car, and we even put it in our car. So we are liking that. So that's through inhalation. The other thing you can do is just inhale right from the bottle, like this. That does a lot too. People with asthma have found really good results using essential oils when they start feeling the tightness of the chest. And you can just do the breathing. From what I understand, short breathing, more like is better for the first part of the asthma when the chest gets tight. Of course, have your inhaler handy if you need to, but some people have seriously weaned themselves off. This blend is called Longevity. It's marjoram, frankincense, black spruce, chamomile, and niaouli, and peppermint. And I list those because of course we thought about what are the best oils to use for an ailment and put them together, and you can of course make your own, and those are the top oils to be using for lung infection or asthma, just clearing out the sinuses in the lung meridian. So that's marjoram, frankincense, peppermint, niaouli. Chamomile is very anti-inflammatory. And then another fun thing that we call, this is called nasal straws. Very high tech. You just take a tissue and you make, let's see, we'll make 2 little pieces like that. It's not exact. So I've got 2 pieces here. And then I'm going to fold it up, almost like a little straw. Actually, you don't want them that thick. This is probably going to make 2. I'll go like this. Oops, it's hard to rip tissue. Okay, here we go. Okay, so not that thick because you're going to want air for your nostril. Okay, so you have it slightly folded, and then you can put, let's use the Longevity again. That's the lid tonic. Here's the Longevity. Put 1 single drop. Another good one for this is rosemary or eucalyptus. Okay, so I've got that on. There, do you see the 1 drop? It's sort of colored. This oil is a bit blue. Folding it up like that. And then, this is so elegant, you just put it right there in your nose, like that, and you breathe it out, and you would do both noses, and you would be amazed. If you can't breathe, it'll just like all of a sudden open up the passages for the sinus. And so the idea of the straw is that you're putting it in, and you're still leaving air in the nostril to breathe. So that's the nasal straws, and you would do 2. I can even breathe better now. Okay. So that is the whole, I got Kleenex here, okay. That's the whole deal with inhaling. The next one that we could talk about is what we can do ingesting or in applications, and I think we'll take care of ingesting essential oils right now. So that's a big, well, I understand it's a fairly big debate out there somewhere in the blog world or something like that about ingesting essential oils. And of course, it's something we kind of say on the website, but we can't really say because it's, of course nothing I'm saying is approved by any governing body or by the FDA. But I'll just I share with you as I can. So it's kind of a thing you can say and can't say, but a lot of books also fear that they can't say it, and there's disclaimers and that kind of thing. And the reason is also, it's kind of good advice in the sense that a lot of essential oils out there, like, a lot of them, like 90%, are synthetic, or they're folded or refractionated, or it's a really interesting thing, and we could talk about that for an hour, like how do you make rosemary if it's not rosemary and that kind of thing. But of course, this has been going on for, over or about 100 years. And see, every essential oil has 3, 4, 5, 600 and yet to be discovered biochemical components to it. So, but sometimes if they do a reading of like what's in the oil, it's called a gas chromatography reading, and it kind of looks like a brainwave thing, and they'll get the peaks and they'll say, oh, peppermint has menthol in it. Of course, a lot of what's in the peppermint is menthol. Or, lemon myrtle has like 97% citral, but then that other 3% could be a whole other 200 components. And the distillers that I work with and that I've been working with for over 20 years are family distillers. They're smaller scale, they're into the art of it, they're 4th generation, they're all over the globe, they're in each country, and we're so happy to work with them. And they're not really doing essential oils for this commercial production. And where essential oils are used commercially is for the food and flavor industry. So that's to flavor tobacco or Wrigley's spearmint chewing gum or orange juice or perfume. And so that quality is different, and in the end product, it's not just pure spearmint that they're putting in the gum. They're going to fold it, they're going to refractionate it. And rosemary, for example, is more expensive than eucalyptus. But rosemary and eucalyptus will share some of those same biochemical components, and it's called like cineol will be in both of those. So they could take cineol, they can isolate it out of the eucalyptus and make a rosemary out of it. So you could buy something called rosemary, and it may not even be rosemary. Actually, it probably isn't. And even on some of the oils that are inexpensive, like lemon or eucalyptus or rosemary, they're not that expensive. They're still folding it and playing with it. So that you definitely don't want to be ingesting those oils, and you really won't be getting the promise of what the essential oils can do. So that's why we always use the real deal. And so that's sort of where the debate has gone to. But interestingly, you can use these essential oils. They are used in the food and flavor industry, and even like when you get like a vanilla extract or peppermint extract, they're taking the menthol out of peppermint and then adding that to alcohol and then diluting that with water. And so, that could be, I don't know how much that is, $5, $4, $1, $10, I don't know. Or you could just get your bottle of peppermint, $10, and use 1 drop. And that 1 drop is pure, it's potent, it's powerful, and you can add that to your water or your smoothie, and you don't have to go to the store. So that's sort of where that is coming from. And then a lot of people, it's just not felt like it's safe. So rather than the debate being like yes or no to ingest, I feel like the answer is, when, how, and where. Like, how is it appropriate, or when is it appropriate, and then how does one do it? So generally also the question would come up like which one would be, or which ones can you use internally? And I think it's pretty obvious too if you think about all the ones that we know of that are edible. So that would be like all the citruses, all the herb ones that you know about, like clove, cinnamon, cardamom, oregano, all those great ones that would be in a herb garden or you make a salad out of. Lavender, so many others, rose, anything that you can eat. So those would be ones that you can use, and you can use those to spice and to add flavor. And you can also use them more medicinally. And the use of them internally came out of, well, it's really advanced. It's obviously gone on for thousands of years, but got very advanced by what is known in France as aroma medicine. And that was advanced by a few doctors, starting with Dr. Jean Valnet, and then Dr. Penawel and Dr. Francombe. And they really have gone into it. Like, we're talking IVs, suppositories, all different kinds of ways to to use them in the body. So that's fascinating. And I know you're going to ask me what books I like, so I shall tell you. I have the Francombe and Penawel book, and it's called L'Aromathérapie Exactement, I can't even remember, but it's French. And I kind of, even though I'm supposed to know French because my dad was from France, but I could hardly read the book, but I actually understood it a lot because I knew the Latin names of the oils. So that one is tough, but if you know French, go for it. But what I love is these books. So here is Advanced Aromatherapy by Dr. Kurt Schnabelt, and then he's also written another book called Medical Aromatherapy. And the great thing is he took all that information, he made it very accessible, and still a very interesting read, and that will deeply take you into the more medicinal aspects of using it. So you're getting away from a lot of those sort of pretty coffee table aromatherapy books, which are great, and we're so glad they exist, but this really gets into it. And I'm very thankful for Dr. Kurt Schnellbelt, he used to run these conferences that I would speak at in the 90s, and it's so much fun. So that's advanced aromatherapy, and for example, I wanted to share with you a study. For example, we have on page 31, in 1955, a study by Keller and Kober found essential oils effective in controlling the number of bacteria in room air. They found 21 essential oils that, when sprayed in an enclosed area, drastically reduced or eliminated the presence of the following microorganisms, which I will not properly be able to pronounce, like Escherichia coli, Aviaria phthiosa, Streptococcus, all the streptas and the staph and the Bacillus and Candida albicans, actually, which I didn't know that was airborne. So, for example, they pulled together all the medicinal studies, all the stuff that are really grounded in, and then they go on to do other studies. One that was done on tea tree and how it was able to clear up candida very effectively, and that was through taking tea tree, 8 milligrams of tea tree essential oil in a stomach-resistant capsule 3 times daily. Symptoms related to bladder infections disappeared in 60% of the patients, and liver function was monitored during the 6-month period and found to be totally normal. So that is exciting too, because what the essential oils do, in very simple terms, is they go into the body, they do their work, and then they leave. So they're not toxic to the liver, and they're real. So again, it's not this like it's so interesting, because what we have right now, it just seems like two polar opposites, like the opening of The Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, and in the best of times we have more essential oils available to us than ever before. And in the old days, in ancient times, they were so expensive. I mean, this was gifts for the Magi. Spikenard was more expensive than gold. And then what we also have is the most synthetic molecules on the planet than ever before. The most things that can, the phthalate disruptors, the hormone disruptors, and interestingly, they're kind of reflected in the same product. I mean, you can wash your floor with lemongrass, or you can take something totally chemical and spread it all over your house and inhale that all day. You could wear sandalwood for your deodorant, or you could wear something that is just totally filled with other molecules that could develop problems with your lymph and then are harsh on your liver, because most of the ingredients that are used in the beauty care industry do have an issue with the liver and the lymph system and our hormones. So it's kind of exciting. It's kind of sad, but what we have here is a great opportunity to really use these great things, and I kind of think of them as my friends. Like, I wouldn't leave home without them, and they do. When I travel, and they're just like great friends to have with me. And it was really when I started working with essential oils. Well, it was in grade 9 when I did a science fair project, and I recreated a perfume called L'air de Temps. And then later, when I was 18, I was just like, it just hit me, and I smelled jasmine, and I was like, okay, sign me up. I've got to just be like, have access to these oils all the time and in vast quantities. So that's why I'm here, because I really like them. So anyway, so back to ingesting. So that's sort of the debate that's going out there, and of course, it's something that you're going to want to decide and take responsibility for yourself. But really on the safety thing, because sometimes it's like the essential oils sound so good to be true. It's like almost, how are we even allowed to be doing this? And I think that one reason we're still allowed is because, in a way, they're for the food and flavor industry, and they're for the perfume industry. So they're still available to us, and we can use them wisely. And you're using, this is what's really important to remember, you're using 1 or 2 drops at a time. And they're kind of like tasty but not so tasty, so you wouldn't really be using more. And all the bottles have integrated droppers reminding you that they come out one drop at a time. And of course you always want to keep these stored away from children and pets, and you just want to use them wisely. So what do we do when we want to ingest them and use them internally? Well, a lot of essential oils are really good for just, casually, you can just put them in your water. They don't fully mix with the water, but it mixes enough and you can get the benefits of it. Now, when you're doing it in the water or you're just dropping it in on your tongue, it'll go into the body and stuff, but it doesn't go right into the stomach. It'll touch there, but if you really want to get it right into the stomach, that's when you want to be using capsules. Because even if you're ingesting it in honey or olive oil, it's kind of going into this area more. And that's good to know if you just want to boost the immune system, you want to add something to the water, or if you actually need to take care of sinus or strep, that's a great thing. I mean, sore throat, peppermint honey, done, or Raven Sarah is really good. Because again, they've been shown in little petri dishes to kill all these things, like strep just goes. So they can kill it, like clove and all of that. So again, clove, oregano, cinnamon, you want to dilute before you even drop your mouth, because that your inside of your mouth, your throat, is that very delicate mucous membrane, and it will sort of burn it. So always dilute it. Oil of oregano, the one that's sold in a lot of stores, that's essential oil of oregano, diluted. Generally it's diluted to 3%, and then the rest is olive oil. So you can do that yourself. You just take 3% oregano essential oil, and then it's usually in a 1 ounce bottle, and then you can add olive oil to that, and you have your own oregano oil. So for taking internally, here's what you can do for the honey. It's a little jar of honey. Put some on a spoon. You can either mix it in the bowl, or I just do sometimes the 1 drop method. Here, and hopefully it will come out. There you go. Can we see that? Look at that. Okay. And then you just eat it like that. That's good. You can also make your own flavored honeys. You just take like a jar of honey, add a couple drops of blood orange, and you're done. That's a great blend. I gotta say, I haven't eaten it for a while. It's got shashandra berry, sea buckthorn berry, ginger, clove, cinnamon, grapefruit, and it's actually quite yummy. They're not always that yummy because they usually taste like just sort of like a terpene, or like you're sucking on the bark of like a pine tree. They all kind of have that taste, but sometimes they're good. Okay, so when you want to get it deeper into the body, what you could do is get a small bottle of like olive oil or hemp, anything you want to take internally, and then you could put the essential oils in a little bottle, like a dropper bottle with a rubber drop, shake it up, and then just get empty capsules and then put it in, and then eat it right away. You can't really let them sit because it will like dissolve the capsule. But sometimes if I don't have that, because I usually don't have empty capsules around, this just exploded on me. That's okay. So just take something I would want to take, like this is a good digestive enzyme, for example, and then I'll just see here, why don't I do this one? This one is called the Feeling Good Today, which is another one that we've created for the basil. Is really good for the brain, connecting the dots in the brain, so to speak. And also is Greenland moss, which is amazing for the liver regenerator. And then you see how, here we go, can go right up close. There it is. And then you just put the cap of the capsule back on. There you go. And then I don't have water, but then I would swallow that with water. And that's how you just do 1 or 2 drops internally. And that you could do for different things, like digestive issues. If you really want to take care of things like thyme takes care of H. pylori bacteria, and so does mastic, and so you can get to some deep issues in the stomach and clear up things as well with the essential oils that way. And some of them are actually, not only do they not harm the liver, but they're actually really great liver regenerators. And that's some of the ones I talked about, like lemon and Greenland moss, grapefruit. Those are all really great for that. And fennel, those are really good also if you are hungover. And so, you know what, I just noticed I have a battery issue. So I'm just going to make sure I'm plugged in because that came undone. So excuse me for a second. Okay, I didn't want to disappear on you. Okay, so those are the ways to ingest. I'm trying to think if there's any other ways that we ingest. That's pretty much it. So it's like you can drink them in your water, and maybe I'll just give a quick list of things that I think are good in the water. I wrote a list over here so I can remember them all. And here we go. Let me get that going here. Okay, so for ingesting things like fennel, you can just add 1 drop to your water, or this is something you could take quite easily with a bit of honey. Bay laurel, what have we got here? Cardamom, carrot seed. Carrot seed's a great liver regenerator. German chamomile, cinnamon bark, coriander, that's a great carminative. We've got cypress, which is good for coughs. Helichrysum, Helichrysum italicum, that's the Latin name, also known as immortelle. That is so good for, again, hangovers. It's sort of 1 drop restarts the liver. We've got frankincense. They're doing a lot of studies on frankincense, and they're finding it's such a strong anti-tumor, anti-cancer, immunostimulant. It's a very cool oil, and frankincense is a great one that I often take internally. So it's good for immunodeficiency, it's good for depression. We've got Greenland moss, which I've mentioned, for liver regeneration. Ginger, classic digestive tonic. Juniper, and lavender is good for, it eases cravings actually. Lavender is really good for that. Lemon, again, it's cleansing, it's detoxifying. Marjoram, Roman chamomile, very tranquilizing. Mastic is good for the lymph. Laurel is good for the lymph. Laurel is like the bay laurel that they would use in ancient Greece around their heads, and that's a very good lymph one. And then oregano for again, diluted, it's good for tonsillitis, sore throat. And then ylang is very euphoric. We'll often do something like juice watermelon and then add 1 drop of ylang, or a blend that we have called the love wine, which is like a whole blend of ones with bergamot and stuff, and 1 drop in that whole blender, and it just takes food and brings it to this other banquet of, like, you know, levity and purity and medicine. So it's like all combined, and that's just what's so great about when you can imbibe on the oils, is they really do add another layer, another level of enjoying the plant world and life on the planet. Okay, so that takes care of ingesting, and then the next thing is application. So this is a pretty wide area, but it's kind of obvious. We've got bathing, you know, anywhere from 3 to 10 drops for bathing, and again, it's not going to mix in with the water, so you got to swish it around, and then you don't want to use something like cinnamon because you're going to have things that float on top. In the shower, you can use them. You know, you just have the shower coming down, and then put a couple drops in your hand right at the end, and just cover your body in it. It's very invigorating. That would be good for black spruce. And then massage. You know, I always make up my blends. If I'm lucky enough to have a massage, I'll make up a big bottle of oil, and I'll do a lot of essential oils in there. And usually, you know, actually it's funny, I go to this place in town, they have a great massage clinic in the little village where I live, and then afterwards everybody always comes in the room and they're like, oh, it smells so good in here. So it's good for the massage therapist too, when you can bring a really good blend. And then there would be the acute application. So a massage, let's say for an arthritic knee, where you're going to do a higher concentration. So let's say massage or skincare, you're going to do somewhere between 5 and 7%. And then if it's something like an arthritic knee or something like that, you might do something up to 10%, maybe, you know, 12%, depending on that. And that's where you can start getting into circulation, anti-inflammatory oils. And then there's also what we call dabbing, or like a neat application of an essential oil. So let's talk about that, like the difference of when you need to dilute it in something and then when you can put it on neat. One example where it would be good to use a neat essential oil is in the beginning stages of herpes or a cold sore. And you can use the essential oils neat, and that will dry it up. But then, and when apparently there's a tingling before a cold sore comes in, so when that starts coming, if you start using the essential oils then usually you won't get it, or you won't get the full manifestation of it. But after a couple of days, it'll get dry, and at that point, you're going to want to dilute it or use lip balm right with the application of the essential oils, because then you don't want to get the skin cracked. And essential oils that are good for that are, well, we have a blend called Doodab, and in that is frankincense, rose, otto, and immortelle. So those are good ones. And then other good ones are geranium, eucalyptus, melissa, but melissa is really expensive, and the other ones work just as well, and ravensara. So you can use those. Also one that we have called Zippity Doodab, which has rosemary and niaouli. That's a blend for zits and acne, but it also works for that. So that is a really good one to use, or those single ones. Frankincense would work too. Oh, if you want to know the very best essential oil that you ever want to use is the one that you have. So, because I know everybody's like, which one should I get? But really get the one, the one that you have. So if you have a cold sore and the only thing you have around is frankincense, but you didn't read in a book or you didn't hear me say that, and you can use it undiluted on your skin, just go for it, because you'll be amazed at how, each essential oil, and there's over 100 of them, have all these different properties. It's kind of like people. They're like, have all these different characteristics, but they're also all like, underneath it all, we've got so many similarities. So that's why you really just start using essential oils and getting used to them and feeling comfortable about applying them and using them to their fullest capacity. So that would be an area where you would use the essential oils undiluted. And then the other one would be like scarring. So this is like, for example, like a new scar or a new cut, like an opening in the body. You want to first clean it before you're diluting it and adding it. So if you've had like a surgery or just a cut, like cuts, cuts, burns, bruises, bites, anything like that, is like peppermint is the best, because it not only is it anti-inflammatory and cooling and cleaning, it's also like a little ice cube that you can get on there, and it cools it and it makes it feel better. Even like a hangnail, peppermint is amazing. If you just had some kind of like little surgical thing, lavender is great, and you can also get into like the Doodab combo that we've made, or the Immortelle is amazing. That's $80 a bottle, but it really is amazing for healing scars. And Rose Otto is also amazing. So I say the Doodab because it has those things in it. Or you can also do lavender, that's $10 a bottle, and you can totally close up the scar and help it. So why does it help it? Because it's cleaning. It's also cellophilic, which means it helps to regenerate new skin cells to that area, and so it helps the body to facilitate the healing process. So once it's cleaned and sealed up, then you might want to do something like diluted about 50-50 with a jojoba, or like a serum, or a best skin ever, if you don't feel like making your own. And then you add that to the scar, and then it really helps to heal up the skin and close it, and then it helps the prevention of keloids. Those are the ones where I can think of like topical, sort of that first aid use. And then other questions I get a lot are about cellulite or stretch marks. So again, for cellulite, dry brushing, the lymph tonic, grapefruit is also good. So grapefruit and cypress, and then you could dilute those and massage that into the area. Again, it's going to be a couple of months. It's not one of those products that would, promise you. I don't even know what's in those other products, but if anything will work, it definitely is the essential oils, because it helps to break down, it helps to get circulation going, and so that's very helpful. Also the dry brushing and sauna is good as well. Stretch marks, amazing results with the essential oils. When people use like Palmarosa, neroli, a lot of women just use that best skin ever that I make, and they just don't get stretch marks. So one woman even did experiment. One breast she did and the other one she didn't, and she had no stretch marks on one for her pregnancy. So definitely use essential oils for that, and you will see great results. So that's the application of the essential oils. And I'm trying to think if we have forgotten anything. I think we've gotten like those general areas. I've showed you things here, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to open it up for questions. And I'm going to pop up my screen here. Okay, I'm going to move this over. And let me get set up here for the questions. Here we go. Okay. Okay. And okay, the first question is a big one. Which essential oils would you recommend for Parkinson's disease and macular degeneration? So, well, for that, you know, I have to talk about oral care for a minute, and really huge, like, you know, if you go to the Hal Huggins website, Parkinson's disease seems to be very, very much affected by mercury fillings. So do look into that. Do see if it's possible to get your fillings removed. And then for the muscles, things like even fibromyalgia and those different things, although even that is supposed to be connected to mercury fillings, essential oils can really help a lot with muscles and tension in the muscles. So for those areas, you can use things like marjoram, the hemp blossoms, wintergreen, peppermint, clove, and that helps to also revivify the decay in that area. But of course, this is where essential oils are interesting. Sometimes they can actually deal with the primary cause and they can get to the root of it. But often too, what they're helpful for is just really helping with the secondary symptoms and helping to clear that off and helping to bring up the quality of life. So next question is from Susie, and she says, did she say fill it up with vodka? And yes, I did, and that's because I actually use a perfumer's grade alcohol that's over 100%, and it's organically and biodynamically grown, but that's so hard to find, and a lot of people don't have access to that. So I was just saying, like, a high quality vodka would also help, and it would be handy and easy to get, so that's why I said that. Okay, do you have a referencing list of what your oils are good for? Yeah, and I have such a beautiful selection of oils, she'd love to know all the benefits. And that's from Melissa. And you know, we've slowly added up. I do make everything that we have, so I'm usually busy making products, but we're slowly putting up things. Like, you can check out the vanilla, frankincense, the immortelle, the inula. Those all have a lot of information on there. And also, it's like, really, we've just gone into it because we want to be very careful about the languaging due to different regulations, because you can't actually say that something's antibacterial and antifungal. So that's okay, but really also, if you just get one of the books I've suggested, it just really helps, and then you can just sort of use that as a reference. Okay, so oh, and I hear from Dr. David that they're having a presentation on far infrared saunas tomorrow night at 9 p.m. So that's handy. And which essential oils, from Alberta is asking, which essential oils are used for dry brushing? So I'll go over that list. Really, you can use anything that is can be used undiluted on the skin, because here we don't want to use a carrier oil to dilute it. We want to just use those essential oils. And so again, you're spreading it on the hand to get the brush finely coated. And I like using, and what we have in our blend called Lymph Tonic is cypress, rosemary, eucalyptus, yarrow, and bay and laurel. So those are all really good. As well, you could use frankincense, Palo Santo, lavender, tea tree, eucalyptus. All of those would be really lovely. For me, it's about circulation and the lymph system. And oh, what is the nose balm I'm referring to? So I'm actually, there's a balm we have called the Immunolume breathing balm, and that's on the website. And also, you can make your own. If you know, I don't have a recipe off the top of my head, but if you look up online to even how to make a lip balm, you take that recipe, but you just add, you're going to add about 15% essential oils. So it's going to be not as solid as a lip balm. It's going to look more like, God forbid I say it, but like Vicks Vapor Rub or something like that. And that makes it very soft, but still solid in the bottle. And then you can make your own as well. And that's a breathing balm. And what else? The next question here. Oh, please spell the name of the author from Sharon. So that is Dr. Kurt Schnaubelt, and that is Schnaubelt, and I love his books. And that, this one, or where am I there? Advanced Aromatherapy, I mean, that would take you far. It's scientific, but it's also so easy to read, and it has also like profiles on the oils, and so does Medical Aromatherapy. And so here's a question from Melissa, and she says, would you dilute the sandalwood oil for deodorant, or would you spray it in vodka? And that's a great question, and really all through my years of creating natural beauty products, which has been over 20 years now, deodorant, I gotta say, was one of the hardest things to change, because what I was finding is the natural deodorants weren't working so well, and then I found like traditional, a lot of people suggest, well, you just dilute it in water and spray it, but I also wasn't finding that effective. So then about 12 years ago, I was really looking up things on sandalwood, and part of its phytochemical makeup is a phytoandrosterone, and so that really clicked for me. And I was like, because men and women secrete that hormone from their like a human version of that hormone. And so the synergy just clicked in my head. So I just started using pure sandalwood, and you just need 1 drop. And since then, I've created, I think, about 7 or 8 or 9 different formulas that I call Poetic Pits Underarm Charm, which is sandalwood with other notes to just give it variation, like we have a Palo Santo one. But really, the key is the sandalwood that's making it all work, and then other notes for variation. And it's so gorgeous to have the sandalwood in your armpits, because it just totally works. Like, it takes whatever aroma you've got to offer, adds the sandalwood, and it's just so sensual, and it works for everybody, because a lot of people apparently were having a problem with these health food store deodorants, and then that stone is actually got some kind of aluminum and different chemicals in it as well. So the Poetic Pits, while it's sort of expensive to use sandalwood, it's totally worth it, and it becomes like your cologne, and you're only using a drop under each one, and it's so effective that it actually lasts like a day or 2 or until your next shower. So yeah, go for it. Just try 1 drop of sandalwood in each pit, and you will be amazed at the results. That also brings to mind, there's been a lot of research done on sandalwood in the past 5 years, and it has a high content of the alpha santal, which is part of its biochemical makeup. And what they're finding is that essential oils like frankincense and sandalwood are very good at inhibiting the malevolent pathways. So what that is when the cells are becoming unorganized and sort of heading down a carcinogenic, or a cancerous route, whether it's a reaction like a melanoma or different things. So sandalwood is very healing for anybody that's working with any basal sarcoma cells, and you can apply it undiluted to clear it up. And also, if you're having any removed, then I would use frankincense and sandalwood combination with rose or otto or immortelle after it's been removed, to heal that skin and to just tell the cells in the area that they're going to be on a new path now. And very good results with frankincense and sandalwood to change the cells that are damaged from different things. So that's really exciting for skincare as well. Sandalwood's a beautiful oil. Okay. What is the best way to future educate yourself about essential oils? Any books, programs you suggest? I'm a massage therapist and would like to add medical aromatherapy to my practice. Again, Kimberly, I would definitely, the 2 books that I've mentioned really will take you into quite a good pathway on learning about those 2 oils. On learning about aroma medicine and learning about all the essential oils, and really grounding it in on that other way that's more about the aroma medicine. Okay, well, I lost my question. Here we go. Okay, are there oils that soothe reflux? There are, especially if you can. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on when there's a reflux, and you definitely want to be getting off any antacids or different stomach things. you know, and looking into things like HCl, and are you producing enough enzymes and stuff, and the digestive essential oils as well as mastic essential oil are very good for that. And when I say digestive, it's sort of what's traditionally known for digestion, like cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, rosemary. Those are all very good carminatives, is what that is called. It's a carminative. Okay, I'm a big fan of essential oils and living libations. When are you writing a book? And when can we? Okay, that's so sweet, because we want to give it to the next generation. Well, I would love to get it all down on paper, but of course, I'm making all the potions, and we have a 3-year-old, so we'll see. But it's all, you know, it's all, and I get to do these webinars, so soon, soon, soon. And I also do want to offer things that are different than, because there are some great books out there, so we really want to be on a path that's delivering it to you differently. But thank you so much for that question. And, okay. Which of your essential oil blends assist clarity and purity of thought? That's a really great question. And I find essential oils are very good for assisting that, because sometimes when the mind sort of goes into a vortex, or sort of what we call the monkey mind, or we're on a thought process that we want to get out of but can't really find the way to pull up sort of our socks or our thinking, essential oils are so great because they require no effort, and upon inhalation they're already changing your state of being, your mind, and your emotions. And when you can get into a new space without effort, all of a sudden you can get into a place of clarity and thought and meditation. So sometimes it's sort of about pulling ourselves out of a vortex and letting the essential oils take our thoughts into ease and flow, and sort of going downstream, down the river. And then also in that question, I can also see it as being about the clarity and purity of thought. So things that might deepen the breathing, strengthening the thought process. So what frankincense is amazing for that. Yeah, I'd say I love frankincense. I mean, there's so many ones that I could answer for that, but frankincense comes in strong. And frankincense can also be anointed on the pineal gland. It deepens the breathing, and really has been used for meditative states for thousands of years. That's my top pick. We also have a blend called Epiphany Elixir with myrrh and frankincense that is quite lovely for that as well. And also, really, for that question, it's like, you know, smell things and see that's sort of subjective, and see what might come into like something like bergamot would also be good. Just sort of, you know, inhale, and it's fun to inhale the essential oils actually without looking at the label. That's a game we often play up at our land in the alchemy room, and it's quite amazing when you're inhaling and not looking at the name, because all of a sudden all these thoughts you have, like, you know, the lavender encyclopedia. Oh, I'm gonna smell lavender, and then you have all these thoughts about lavender. But when you don't know, you almost have this moment of unrecognition, and it's very fresh. Okay, this skipped, so I gotta go back down. Okay, this is from Nicole. What would you recommend for babies, newborn and up, to build and increase their immunity, especially if you've not chosen to vaccinate? What is the best methods? Oh, I just lost it. Hold on. Best methods to use the essential oils. Well, that's a great question. And the best thing, obviously, is breastfeeding, because that builds up the baby's immunity in ways that we don't know. You know, each drop of milk contains over like 1 million white blood cells, and it actually builds the antibodies all through, like, even up to like all the years of breastfeeding, even as a toddler, and different ones. So while the milk keeps shifting to develop with the child. So, and also apparently, like, if your partner went out and shook somebody's hand and then they came back and kissed you and you're breastfeeding, your whole body is like giving immune messages to your child about that. So that's pretty cool. One thing you want to avoid using on little people is peppermint, because it can drop their temperature, and you want to dilute the oils. One area where I didn't dilute an oil is when the midwives came after I gave birth, and they said, now take care of the belly button, and you got to keep it clean. So I was like, okay. So they left, and then I put 1 drop of tea tree oil on Leaf's belly, and then we put him out in the sun for just like 2 minutes, And then they came back the next day, and his belly button was totally healed and formed, and they were like, oh my gosh, what did you do? And I said, well, you said to keep it clean, so we did. And they said normally it takes about 2 weeks to heal. So that was pretty cool. That was an example where we used essential oils. And then you can just actually make sure, you can use it for cleanliness and keeping your own hands clean, and you could also use essential oils in a vaporizer and have those going in the room. And I know often when babies are teething, their immune system goes down because of this whole teething process. So, and that can, if they get a plugged nose, and that can sometimes be difficult. So what we would also do is use eucalyptus, and we put it all over the bed rather than on the baby, and so they were inhaling, and that was clearing up the nasal passages. So that's another way that I used it. And if you're going to use essential oils, you just use something like Immortelle or lavender, and you can use that in massage, and babies love massage, so that's a great way too, and you just use a little bit. And then here we have next question. Sorry, I have to keep scrolling down. What do you recommend for acne scarring? I would recommend the blend that we have that's called Doodab, or any of the single essential oils that are in that blend. So that would be lavender, rosado, immortelle, frankincense. And for that, you want to do a very strong dilution rate, and you want to do once or twice a day to that area. And you would almost just do 1 drop essential oil to 1 drop jojoba, because you want to use a high concentration of essential oils, but you want to but you want to keep the area moist. You don't want to dry it out, because essential oils can be drying. Okay, back down. I got to keep scrolling down, so hold on. Okay. What is good for psoriasis? Well, it's really making sure that you're not using anything synthetic. I keep going back to the blends we've created, because we've also created them for these purposes. But the sea buckthorn Best Skin Ever is amazing, and what's in there that is helpful is the palmarosa, lavender, sea buckthorn berry, and jojoba. So you can also do a version of that at home and apply it. If it's red and itchy, then you'll want to put a bit of peppermint with that, and the peppermint will be cooling as well as anti-inflammatory, and that will hopefully stop the dry and itchiness. So that you should have success with. And then what essential oils are best used during pregnancy and during labor? Pregnancy, you want to keep the belly happy and lubricated. So again, something like the Best Skin Ever and like lavender, and using that. And doing dry brushing is great for during pregnancy. And then during labor, you could really choose from so many things, because it's really about a smell that you like and something that creates a great atmosphere for you, and you can have that being diffused. Frankincense comes to mind, and it's also been used as, it's actually, a lot of people refer to it as like a portal oil. So like when you're coming into a new place, and it's really about life and a transition. So that is amazing. You can anoint it on your third eye. And then what was so great, I know from personal experiences, I used a high dilution rate of marjoram and lavender, probably like a 50% in jojoba, and then Ron, my partner, just massaged that onto my back for like an hour. Right in the pelvic region, and that was amazing, because marjoram is a very good analgesic, which is like a muscle relaxant. And stretch marks I have, which I covered, that's the next question. For lung function, oh yeah, I forgot, one of the applications I want to talk about, which comes from aroma medicine, is suppositories. And I bring this up with lung infection because this is a very effective way to deal with deep bronchitis and lung infections, is a suppository. So what you can do is take 20 grams of cacao butter, 10 mils of coconut oil, and then 30 to 60 drops of essential oil. Put that in a jar, melt it, like do a double boil, melt the oils, pour in your essential oils, and then if you can find a mold or a jumbo straw, a really big straw, and then cap it, and not a big straw, but not a tiny straw, and then you pour the essential oils down there. What we also do sometimes is just take like a Ziploc bag and then pour it along the bottom of the bag, 1 row, and then you just hang it in the freezer, and that will create a solid line. And then you take that and you chop it up and you make suppositories, and that's so good for lung infection. Women also have other options, and it's really truly amazing for any issues, cervical issues. Sea buckthorn is proven to be very effective for clearing up any cervical inflammation or dysplasia. I think one study did a result, don't quote me, but I think 30 days sea buckthorn cleared up any issue, and I think they had like 100% success rate. So suppositories are great, and the Kurt Schnellbelt book, Advanced Aromatherapy, has another recipe in there and explains it a little bit more. And for lung stuff, you would want to use like oregano, rosemary, thyme, and what it does, it delivers the molecules to the body without passing the digestive tract. Okay, and here we go. Where are we? I'm sorry, here we go. There's a lot of questions. Okay, and I want to get to them all. Here we go. No, here we go. Okay, what would you suggest for headaches? Headaches are easy. Peppermint, lavender. We have a product called Tonic, but you can also just take a drop of peppermint each temple, base of neck, and lavender, and it's anti-inflammatory. It will kind of feel like it's shrinking your head back down, especially if it's a hot headache or a sinus headache. It will have great relief. Also good for studying and different things. So I wish this wouldn't skip. Okay, stretch marks. We've talked about, can you talk about using frankincense on your third eye and other uses for frankincense? How is it best to use for insomnia? Frankincense on the third eye is very good for that gland system. It helps to, sometimes things in our life like fluoride in the water have caused that to calcify, so it's very good for that. It just puts you in a good meditative state and puts some under your nose and breathe. Is it best for insomnia? I would say it's definitely got a Zen thing to it, but for insomnia you might want to try like Roman chamomile, lavender, marjoram, spikenard. Those are very sedating, what they call soporific oils. Will your Beskin ever get rid of stretch marks? It can with continued use, and I would just make it a bit stronger and maybe get a bottle, add 5 ml of lavender and some palmarosa, and just be consistent with it. Is there any oils that should be avoided during pregnancy? That's a great question. That's definitely something that I've found in a lot of aromatherapy books to be inaccurate and exaggerated. So where I go for my standards is a really great book called The Essential Oil Safety Data Manual by Robert Tisserand, and in there he really goes into it and into the studies, really all the facets of essential oil safety. And when you're using essential oils diluted like this, like you're not going to have, and you're using a few drops at a time, on one level there's really not going to be an issue with any of them, even if it's the ones that are on the list. And the ones on the list are like fennel, clary sage, tarragon, and because those are estrogenic, and what they can do is put the body into more of an estrogenic phase, which you don't want during pregnancy. It's okay during labor or that time, but in the beginning you want to be more having more progesterone in the body. So again, if you inhaled fennel, if you had probably 1 drop of fennel, there probably isn't going to be any issues at all, and certainly not like drinking caffeine or different things like that. So where the Essential Oil Safety Data Manual corrects some of the references is things like rosemary and peppermint seem to be fine for pregnancy. I mean, I've even seen lavender been suggested. So again, you can look that up, and you can be careful, and you can always use your intuition. But if you are using the essential oils responsibly and in a diluted form, and you're not like, guzzling a whole bottle of fennel, that's when you're going to get into some issues. So I hope that clears up some of the issues surrounding pregnancy and essential oil use. The next question from Sherry: when do you apply Zippity Doo Dah for acne? Is it before or using after the Baskin Ever moisturizer, and would you use it in the morning and night? Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. You can use it morning and night, and I would put it before you're putting on the best skin ever. And also if it's just one that's like a bit, stubborn, you can just apply it throughout the day as well if you just really want to clear it up. And definitely it's been very helpful for a lot of people. Next question from Sean. Can we give the web address again? Yeah, I think if it's our address, it's livinglibations.com. That's Living Libations. And libations is a great word. It means the outpouring of a nectar in honor of a deity. So this Living Libations is an outpouring of all these plant deities. And if it's Building Strengths, it's buildingstrengths.com for the DVD, on the dental DVD. Okay. Is there certain essential oils that can help us deal with allergies in the spring? Yes. One thing you want to look into is like a liver congestion and looking into that, but also the longevity blend we have is good, and just dealing with the sinuses, things like chamomile, frankincense, marjoram, peppermint, those all really help with allergies in the spring. And please make a note, remember if you want to. Okay, that's a little note from Dr. David. And do you need probiotics in addition to essential oils for digestion? That's a great question, and I think it's yes, only going to make, if you're dealing with a digestive issue, that's going to totally make everything work better. And it's getting a great probiotic going, and also for the immune system, probiotics are awesome. So find a really good one and definitely use that with the essential oils. Generally what's found is that the essential oils are actually only dealing with the bad bacteria and parasites. However, adding in the good bacteria is a great thing to do. Great question from Rachel. Can the sandalwood and frankincense be inhaled for lung cancer, or would you recommend something else? Well, they can be. Well, the sandalwood, a lot of essential oils, this is probably not allowed to say this, but a lot of the essential oils are anti-carcinogenic. Where the sandalwood and frankincense come in, where I was discussing, is for skin issues. For lung cancer issues, I think the frankincense would be helpful, as well as a few other essential oils. The sandalwood, not so much, but you're definitely going to want to get a different assistance for something like lung cancer, but definitely coating the lungs would be good. Frankincense is very anti-tumor. It also depends on the type of lung cancer, and I would actually really I would do some research on looking at doing suppositories in that area, for that area, not in that area, but for that area. That would be very interesting to look up. So what is the best essential oil for insomnia, noise sensitivity, and trauma? That's a good question. It also brings up where essential oil use is you can have this whole array of ones that are recommended in a book. But once you get used to it too, you'll just know your own intuition, and you'll be like, you know what, that one is good for me in this situation. So some ones I would suggest would be like bergamot, lavender, spikenard, frankincense, things that just work on the central nervous system, are relaxing and calming. And then maybe out of those ones, see which one also is really just speaking to your being, because something like noise sensitivity is just like something where your nerves are having a reaction to different noises, and so that's something where you're going to want to soothe. Find the ones that are soothing for you, and then Immortelle would be good as well for trauma. If you could only get one or two oils, which ones would you recommend? I think lavender is really, I said lavender and I meant to say peppermint. Lavender is in there. Those are two common ones, like peppermint and lavender. But I'd say peppermint and then something like frankincense. So just so you can get into something that's like, peppermint's very practical, frankincense is practical too, but it really taps you into this history and this more mythical, mysterious aspect to the essential oils. We also, on our website, in the kits section, we have two kits that we've made up. One's called Real to the Feel, and it has 5 essential oils in this little kit, which is Palo Santo, rosemary, lavender, and peppermint, and one other that I can't remember right now. And then there's another one called the Joy Juice Essential Oil Kit, which is Cape Chamomile, frankincense, Immortelle, rose otto, and sandalwood. And they're in a little kit that's so cute. Oh, I actually have one here that's a different thing, but I get my seamstress to sew these up with vintage blankets. And then you have this like little medicine pouch here. This one is called the medicine pouch, and we have the Feeling Good Today, gumdrops, the love wine. There's a few different variations. And what we did for that is, if you buy them all and you get the pouch, it is less expensive than buying them all separately. So those are some fun things. That's certainly not 1 or 2, but it's 5, and it gives you a start. And that also reminds me that we set up a coupon because we're so appreciative that you tuned in tonight. And what we did, because it's near Christmas and we wanted to do express shipping, that we set the limit for free shipping at 200. And I'll tell you why. Because, well, first of all, it's not that hard to spend that money around Christmas. But also we did it because we want to send every single package express post so that we know that it gets there in time. And that, for us, shipping, because we ship from Canada, usually we have flat rate. So obviously if you're getting 1 item, it's not always the best deal. But if you're getting 2, 3, 4, or you're getting like a liter of shampoo and it's a flat rate shipping, that means we're actually subsidizing the shipping. So sometimes we're usually paying about $30 or $40 to just ship anywhere. And if we're shipping overseas, it's sometimes $60. But we do have the cap on that. So we set it at 200 because we're free shipping on any order over 200, and that's for the next week. And we did that so that we can send everything express post. So we wanted to just let you know that as well, and I forgot to mention that. So there you go. Okay. Can essential oils help remove skin tags? Yes. Frankincense, amazing at that. I had a friend who had very good success. Frankincense, undiluted, continually 2-3 times a day, and you'll have success with that. What might you use in the moment of an anxiety or panic attack? Seems like frankincense is coming up a lot, but I would suggest the longevity blend. And again, that's a thing where really any essential oil you have on hand is going to help you, because those molecules are going to come in and they're going to start working on the body, and without any effort your breathing is going to change, your whole physiology is going to change, the central nervous system is going to change. So lavender, frankincense, anything that's sort of strengthening and calming. And I think of frankincense as a lot of fortitude. Are oils safe for the children? Can you recommend anything for my daughter with early puberty signs? I would just again, with essential oils are safe for children. I think we addressed the safety parameters when we talked about babies. And for her daughter, if you want to take with skincare, I think that's a great place to start. And also sandalwood for deodorant would be so cool, because she'd be smelling great, and it would welcome puberty in a great way without being so awkward. And a lot of teenagers are just they're using a Poetic Pit or the sandalwood, Zippity Doo Dab, and the best skin ever, so they can keep their skincare simple. Guys are using that, girls are using that. What would be helpful for a colicky baby? I would massage lavender into the baby's feet, and that really helps, doing a baby massage. And here we go. And I'm going to announce this now because I got a note from Dr. David, and he just said, can we let everybody know there's a presentation by Jackie Harvey, which is Canada's hormone lady. That's so cool. Right after ours tonight at 9 p.m. and she's talking on the importance of iodine to health. So that's great. And Dr. David saying we need to do a presentation every month, so that'll be fun. And that'll be really cool to tune into the hormone one. Really, we're learning a lot about hormones this year in our own health, and using essential oils in hormone health. And I speak at the Longevity Conference, and that's coming up in April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You can look up the longevityconference.com. And last time we learned so much on hormones. It was fascinating. We have Dr. McCullough there, David Wolf, Donna Gates, Daniel Vitalis, and we learned so much. It's awesome. And definitely there's going to be new emphasis on hormones there. And they're actually even trying to get Suzanne Summers to speak. So that's upcoming for us as well. And here's a fun question from Jessica. What do I think about the quality of Young Living's essential oils? And well, I get that question a lot. Even though I've actually been working with essential oils a lot longer than than Young Living. And I actually happened to meet Gary Young in 1996 at a conference that Dr. Kurt Schnellbelt that we were at, and went out to dinner with him. And Young Living hadn't really started then, so it was really interesting, and a nice man. And what I would say is great is that they do provide a lot of education, and they really went for it, I think, on the ways that you can use and ingest the oils. So that's pretty cool. But I gotta say, the quality isn't always, it's, for me, I like a better quality. How's that? I like a better quality. And I find I'll just take a bottle of our essential oil and another one, the same one, like the frankincense, marjoram, the lemon, and I wouldn't even have to answer this question if you could all smell right now, and you would just know there's a different quality. And actually, that's a great question, because I actually even get questions like, how do I know this, or how do I know that the oil I'm getting is good? And you don't need to have a degree or anything, because as soon as you start smelling oils, and you can smell good oils, bad oils, smell the ones at the health food store, and then have a good oil that you know you're smelling, and you will just see a vast world of difference, and you will immediately know. When I started getting into this when I was 18, anything that was synthetic would immediately go off in my pineal gland. It would just be like, fake, fake. So that was how I would tune into that. What oils are good for the cat that keeps licking her hair until it falls out? Well, I would actually, essential oils and cats don't always mix, because they can smell it so much. But if that is the issue, I would put on, something simple like tea tree, because she won't like to lick it, and it will be uncomfortable for a moment. But you can get one drop on, or you can even you can do that to the area, or you can dilute into water and try a lighter mix on the coat, because I'm not sure what area you want to do, and that will help, because it might not be so tasty. What was the one for the third eye? Really, you can use a lot of them for the third eye. I love frankincense. And this is from Megan. Thank you so much for sharing your wealth of information. I was wondering if there are any essential oils which are helpful in reducing the appearance of melasma, and I developed this on my face during the last 3 pregnancies. Yeah, that's a hard one, and it's come up a lot this year. I'm getting that question a lot. That's when the skin changes, it's usually to like a pale, like you get a brown spot, and then if you go in the sun it gets worse. The cause of it is a hormonal thing. But what I have suggested to a few women and a man is using the doodab, or again, you could buy the ingredients separately, and I have had feedback that it is working well. You could also try a 50% dilution, like 50% lemon in 50% lavender, and use that undiluted and neat. That could also create results, but don't go into the sun with that. And then for that area, you'll want to block it if you ever go in the sun with like zinc oxide, to make sure it doesn't get tanned. And then just maybe check in with some hormone things for sure. Okay, which essential oils could bless her partner's new home? Oh, that reminds me, I have a blend that I just made and released last week. It's called a Hearth Mirth, so that would be fun. And white fir would be awesome for blessing, or one of the sages. That would be beautiful. What oils are good for varicose veins? And then what would you suggest for vaginal atrophy? For the vaginal atrophy, I would again check in with your hormones, and then using something like, we have a blend called Love Butter, which is great, and to that you could actually add some of the sea buckthorn essential oil. I have a woman that's going through menopause that has great success with that, using sea buckthorn with the Love Butter, which is for that area. It's actually an edible massage oil for that area, and a lot of women use it for that. And then varicose veins, cypress is great, or you could use the lymph tonic. I actually used to make a blend when I was in 18 and going to university. It was called the waitress legs, and it was really great. All the waitresses would use it so they wouldn't get those varicose veins on their leg. And what you want to do is just go over that area gently with the essential oils. You can even just put a drop of cypress on, and then just massage it up, and you can dry brush and keep your legs elevated at night, and that helps tremendously with varicose veins. Oh my god, what is the code for shipping? Good one, Erlene, because I don't think I said it. It is beauty, all capital, beauty. Okay. I forgot to ask which oils are good to use for digestion and how. So again, you can use them in the capsule. You can also put some in your water and drink it. It will help. It won't go all the way down. It just sort of depends on what digestive issues you've got. We also have a blend called Digest the Best, and that is a really amazingly complex blend with rosemary, cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, mastic, tarragon, thyme, oregano. I think it's got over 15 different essential oils, and it tastes good too. So you can actually make a salad dressing with it. So you could make your normal salad dressing recipe, olive oil, honey, that kind of thing, a little apple cider vinegar, and throw in like 3 drops of that, and it will add a lovely flavor. Or you can also take that in a capsule, or just drop some in your mouth, and that gets all the saliva working to help digest things better. And that's a pretty popular one. There are comments on your site. People can click on your banner with your picture and leave comments and more questions there. Okay, so yes, so apparently Dr. David's saying there are comments on their site on buildingstrengths.com, and you can click on the banner on, I guess, of my picture, and you can also leave comments and more questions there. And then Dr. David will send them to me in the upcoming days. Okay, do I have any suggestions for small children with allergies to cats? Yes, sort of unrelated, but do read a book called Natural Cat, and it's important to, well, I don't know if it's in the same household, but the cat needs to be on a different food system than the regular commercial food, and needs to be off dry food because it creates dander. So check out the book Natural Cat, and that will give you all kinds of information. What's the best essential oil for hot flashes? That can help deal with the peppermint can help deal with symptoms of hot flashes. Again, just make up a spray bottle of like this size, put in 20 drops of peppermint water, shake it, and just spray it over your head for when you get hot flashes, and that'll be great. Do your perfumes last when wearing, or do they need to apply often? The perfumes do last because they're blended so well, and you'll find they'll last for a day, the whole day. You may want to reapply if you're going out at night, and a great place to put perfume is on your hair because it keeps the smell much longer because the skin sort of absorbs it. But we have some gorgeous perfumes, and they're very potent. Somebody wrote, I've heard cats are allergic to tea tree, and they're not. A cat may not like it, and you have to be very, very cautious when using essential oils with animals. And there's actually a couple of books out there, I can't remember the names, but if you aromatherapy in animals or something, but there's a couple on there that you could get from Amazon or something, if you want to go deeply into it. And a lot of research has been done with horses and dogs and cats. And got last couple of questions here. Which essential oils are great for mosquito repellent? You can use white cedar, eucalyptus, geranium. Those are all great. Peppermint is great for bug bites afterwards. And what would you do for aging facial skin or thinning skin? You want to look at diet, vitamin C, and use natural skincare products. Any of the products we make are going to help with that, and they're going to strengthen and fortify the skin. And Alberta would like to thank me and Dr. David. Thank you very much for sharing, and Dr. David. And can you recommend a good aftershave balm or essential oil? Again, you could use a bit of peppermint in your lotion. That will tighten the pores. It will take care of any razor burns, so that's a good one as well. So thank you so much. And you can contact us at sage@livinglibations.com. The free shipping code, orders over 200 is beauty. And our website is livinglibations.com. And you can also connect with us on YouTube. We have a number of videos up that will take care of some of the questions we've been asking. Like, I've did little videos on acne, on the medicine pouch, on oral care, on white teeth. So many things are addressed there. And we even, Ron and my partner, go into a lot of the oils individually, and we talk about, you know, some of the just key points on black spruce or frankincense, blue lotus. So you can connect with us there, and also on Facebook. And thank you so much for hanging in there. I know it's a lot of information, and I just hope you'll find it useful. I just love how the essential oils are so exotic and totally practical. So have a great night, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.